Hello, my friends and travelers of the transcendent worlds. Today, I wanted to focus on something a little bit different. I want to jump right into talking about one of my favorite hidden genres of fiction. You all know it. It's this quaint small town with either kids and adults or just a group of kids who are solving a great mystery that has to do with the supernatural or the otherworldly. As they battle against these powerful, fantastic elements, they have to ask some pretty big, important questions. Questions about life, questions about childhood, growing up, getting older, questions about moving on, questions and dilemmas that have to do with nostalgia, wonder. Can you trust the younger generation with a dilemma that is even bigger than you? And can the younger generation trust the older generation to be reliable and help them in the end? So this story has been with me since I was in high school and even middle school. It started when I had watched Super 8. If you haven't seen the movie before, it's a movie by J.J. Abrams with the dilemma of an alien. The main character, Joe Lamb, has just lost his mom from the previous year, and he's helping his friend make a movie for a film festival. Joe Lamb is super into art and like models, like train models and small miniatures and painting, like something really relatable for a lot of nerdy people like myself to really get into and really like connect with. And as the story goes on and progresses, him and his group of friends run into this supernatural element with this alien, this otherworldly creature. And it shifts the entire story. Going from a relatable, nostalgic story from the 70s, turning into a supernatural, otherworldly big event. From there, the kids have to then solve the problem. Though they don't really want to, they reluctantly take it upon themselves because they learn specific information from one of their teachers who sabotaged the train, freeing the alien, and throws them right into the story. But what's interesting about these stories is that this isn't the only example, but this similar theme takes place in several. Stories like The Goonies, where they go to find lost, buried pirate treasure. Stories like Stranger Things, where it's not just the kids mainly, but it is also adults join forces to be able to stop this other dimensional threat in the form of the classic Demogorgon creature or the evil clutches of Vecna, a superhuman being. But we also see it in things like It. A killer, supernatural, shape-shifting clown attacks and threatens all of Derryberry? Okay, I don't remember the name of the town, but I've seen the movies and I've read a little bit of the books. But you see within all of these kinds of stories, like Iron Giant, even in Signs, that all of these stories have a similar theme. What are those themes? It's themes of nostalgia, themes of wonder and childhood, themes of reality versus the fantastic, themes of miraculousness, miracles taking place in this more realistic world, themes of endearment in the characters, and the reminiscing that you feel while you watch, read, or play them. These stories touch a vein that is so potent, so fascinating and interesting, that even I feel the coaxing of it. And the reason why I say even I is because a lot of these stories take place back in these previous decades. You have the 80s, 70s, 60s, 50s, all of these different eras that I didn't grow up in, but I still feel a connection, a strong vibe with them. And where does it come from? I would probably say it comes from the characters. Now, a lot of movies have supernatural, otherworldly beings, but they don't all have that nostalgic feel. This is a story grounded in reality, where the supernatural element is the driving force, and it drives the characters to do things, but it's the characters that we're really investing in and make us really care about stories. I mean, that's a story 101. However, it is a key element in these specific stories. There's often a threshold within these stories that we see. Now, with the older forms of this hidden story, and we're going to call this genre fiction the wonder fiction. This wonder fiction has two kind of parts to it. There's the classic version that shows up in things like E.T., where adults are kind of stupid. They're not really catching on to what's going on. You can't really trust anybody. Adults are kind of suspicious. It's also kind of seen in things like Sandlot, where the kids are the main focus, not adults. Adults are kind of the old news. It's the predicament of showing that the young generation should be listened to. They're validated in what they're thinking and doing, and they're the ones solving the mystery, solving the problem. But then there's the other genre. While we have things like Scooby-Doo, Goonies, and Sandlot, we then have the ones that are more focused on bringing those two worlds, the reality and the fantasy, together. While kids are more focused on the fantasy and the wonder, which is a gift, it's a skill. It allows them to be able to figure out what the monster is, be able to discover that it's actually happening first, and they take notice and catch on pretty quickly. But the adults have a slower time doing that. But they're grounded in reality. Their advantage and strength in this entire story, or stories, is that they are the ones with the resources, the skills, perhaps even the insight to being able to how to solve the problem. They may not be able to see the problem at first, but they are the ones that will offer the solutions, or might be able to be the ones who do the heavy lifting. Some examples of this are Super 8, Stranger Things. I would even say Iron Giant has a few elements of this. And these are the stories that are a little more modern, but they are also still nostalgic, classic. They show us that rich type of storytelling that isn't often seen in a lot of fiction. It's that type of storytelling that branches out to those types of themes of nostalgia, wonder, the endearing qualities of characters who feel real. They're making real decisions. And it doesn't matter if they're a side character or a main character, they're adding to the story. Though a lot of storytelling has that element that every character should serve a purpose, things like Stranger Things offer us characters that are side characters, but they're adding depth to this world, this atmosphere, this reality we're in. It's not just a story being told with some rich message. It's that and an amazing throwback to the good old days. The days when we were kids running around coming up with games and coming up with these little secrets and myths about the town. It's that little rumor spreading around about, oh, have you heard about the Mothman or the Slender Man, or all kinds of things. And along with that rich sense of adventure. We've all been there. We like exploring that type of storytelling in wonder fiction because it's so interesting. It gives us the throwback to what once was, and as well to what we are now. The parallel between childlike wonder to an adult grounded in reality. And the reason why we watch them is often because we want to feel that childlike wonder, giving ourselves to faith and magic and wonder, and stepping outside that door of it has to be just so that we can experience that light that a kid feels. My friends, this is one of the most wonderful forms of storytelling. You see it time and time again with directors like J.J. Abrams, Spielberg, or the Duffer Brothers, is that they are trying to help us capture that classic feel that we once felt as kids. So maybe we're all looking for something a little bit deeper. A story that might just throw us back to when we were a kid, running up that green hill with our friends, and then running across some strange rock that makes us ask the question, what if? Well, my friends, thank you for watching. It's been a pleasure making this video and a throwback for me, and I hope it was the same for you. If you're interested in seeing or listening to some stories that are just as interesting as wonder fiction, take a look at the Tales of the Verse series that I have. We have a season 1 and 2 that have compelling narratives for any viewer that is a fan of wonder fiction or any form of fiction. And as well, we'll be making more content to be able to show you the makings of more stories on this channel. So stay tuned for more, and I'll see you on the other side of the gates.